before you judge others. The following discussion, not reported in exact words, took place between a Christian woman and her teenage daughter. Mother: our next door neighbors are very unfriendly. They don't ever smile or say hello. Daughter: actually, Mom, between you and that family, you are the one that's very unfriendly. When you're driving out of the house, you look straight ahead of you and fail to notice when they are outside and waving to you. They probably got tired of being ignored and decided to stop greeting you. Dad and the rest of us think they are very nice and friendly because we notice and respond to them. How would you feel or react if your child corrected you in that manner? Would you get angry and want her never to do so again? Would you take another look at yourself and take correction? Whatever your reaction would be, there is a truth every Christian should be reminded of by this story. Matthew chapter 7, verses 3 to 5. Why do you notice the small piece of dust that is in your friend's eye, but you don't notice the big piece of wood that is in your own? Why do you say to your friend, let me take that piece of dust out of your eye? Look at yourself first. You still have that big piece of wood in your own eye. You are a hypocrite. First take the wood out of your own eye. Then you will see clearly to get the dust out of your friend's eye. That's the easy-to-read version of the Bible. It is very easy for us to notice what others are doing wrong and condemn them for it. However, noticing our own failure, which may be even bigger and more obvious than what we are seeing and condemning in our neighbor, is very difficult for us. That is what happened in the case of the mother in the story we read earlier. Remember the story in John chapter 8, verses 3 to 11. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery, in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down, and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he had them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And they which had it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go, and sin no more. Many of today's Christians are just like the accusers of the woman in this story. The sad difference, though, is that whereas verse 9 says that the woman's accusers were convicted by their own conscience, and of course they went away. The conscience of many Christians today is dead, seared with a hot iron, 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2. Even when they know that they are as guilty or even more guilty than the person they are accusing, they still go ahead and cast stones at that person. The truth is, if there is any time when every one of us should really be concerned about discovering and dealing with his or her own weaknesses or shortcomings instead of focusing on those of others, it is now. The time is very short, and we should all be working hard towards ensuring that Jesus makes us ready for the rapture when he comes. Do not forget that we must all stand in front of Christ to be judged. Each one of us will be judged for the good things and the bad things we do while we are in our bodies. Then each of us will receive what we are supposed to get. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10. That's the New International Reader's Version. Now, there is nothing wrong in correcting your brother or sister if he or she is doing something you know to be wrong. In fact, that is one of the ways we can help one another, since nobody knows it all. But it must not be done with a holier-than-thou attitude. Galatians chapter 6, verse 1 says, Brothers and sisters, what if someone is caught in a sin? Then you who are guided by the Spirit should correct that person. Do it in a gentle way, but be careful. You could be tempted too. New International Reader's Version. King James Version says you should do it in the spirit of meekness. In other words, not with pride or in a way to make that person feel worthless. Even if you have taken a good look at yourself and think that you are perfect, you still have no right to condemn anyone. Romans 14, verse 4 says, Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for God is able to make him stand. Sometimes all you even need is to Try and understand the next person, and you will discover that he's not what you think he is. Just like that mother realized during her discussion with her daughter that their neighbors were not unfriendly like she had thought. You might even be the one that has a problem and not the person you are criticizing. The next time you are tempted to criticize someone because of the dust in his or her eyes, look in the mirror and see the wood in yours. May the Lord give us wisdom in Jesus' name.